Hello, everyone. I'm Carrie Patrick for WLX-TV's Eye on St. Lucie, where we explore and discuss school policies, operations, and instructional practices. Today, we bring you a two-part segment, both focusing on ways to engage students in education. In the first segment, we'll showcase a teaching and learning tool that is revolutionizing classrooms. In part two, we'll highlight an opportunity to increase family engagement, which in turn will support student achievement. Coming up in this segment, we'll take an exciting and closer look at the next generation of human-computer interaction by introducing you to a teaching and learning tool called zSpace. This is a revolutionary technology that provides students and teachers with an exploration and presentation tool for STEM-related studies. Something very special has arrived to St. Lucie Public Schools. It's called zSpace. And here to help us understand exactly what that is the Director of Career and Technical Education, Mr. Michael Carbenia. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
And before we actually dive into zSpace, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do as the Director of Career and Technical in St. Lucie?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me today. One of my key roles in serving the school district is really connecting career, technical, in the classroom for our students K through 12. And what that really looks like is making curriculum relevant. So whether that's using something like zSpace or industry certifications or internships, that's a main focus that I spend my time on, is really connecting the academic curriculum with real life.
All right, so connecting. Using special eyewear and a stylus with zSpace. You've brought this into our classrooms so that now students can literally reach out, grab, and experience in 3D virtual reality that you call augmented reality, things that they were never able to do before. How does that work?
Absolutely, and I think you hit on a key point here, is the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality. Virtual reality is very common. Everybody knows that is a headgear, something they would wear, that would cover their eyes, and they feel like they're in an environment and they're in a different world. That's something that is pretty commonplace. A lot of gamers use it, and it's really growing with Oculus Rift. But what's different about zSpace is it allows a student to truly manipulate. So as you mentioned with the stylus and a combination of the glasses, the student can engage with an item. There's over 2,000 models. It's all aligned with the Sunshine State standards. And they can actually, if we take your glasses, for instance, they can take apart your glasses and understand the little things that go into it. There's a tiny screw that operates on a pivot down to the spring that loads it back and forth. That's something very basic. It can go very in-depth down to dissecting a human eye. And you can take apart a human eye, but what's really great about it is, again, the student, as they're doing it, there's such a sensitivity to the device that they can feel the beating of a heart and arteries and knowing what is going on. So it's a really powerful tool.
And I know that we've had some training for our instructors. We've also had a sneak peek for our board members and some of our staff members. A lot of enthusiastic conversation taking place. What's the feedback that you've had there?
Well, and it's really a credit to our board and to our leadership, is that they understand technology is changing. And they understand that as they serve us, and especially the board, the representatives of the community, they wanted to know what is going on so they could speak to it. So we went to class and we participated. So we had Miss Hensley, we had everybody, and it was always really fantastic because they were going through the circulatory system and they could feel the heart beating as they would raise the pulse, and it was such a submersive experience for them that they really saw the connection. And as I mentioned, they hadn't been in a direct classroom as a student in a number of years, but that hooked them, and that brought relevance to what we were doing. whether it's something as simple as the physical science to biologies to anatomy and physiology. This one device encompassed all of those, and it was really exciting, and they were they were entertained.
Well, and you know, some of the things that I've heard, 3 words: intuitive, interactive, and collaborative. And that collaborative piece, because you can have more than one student engaging with these modules at a time. What do you have to say about that?
Absolutely. That's one of the real big reasons that we believed in this product and why we felt we needed to bring it to our students. Because when we sit and meet with the Chambers of Commerce and the Economic Development Councils, they talk a lot about the soft skills, and the public schools are not giving that to them, and we need to do that more. Well, this device is designed for collaboration. So not only would one student have the glasses, but you have 2 more on the sides. They can pass the stylus, they can work together, but what's great is because it comes out and it's physically in front of them, they can all interact collaboratively. And if they can pretend to do a surgery, they don't have to pretend anymore, because somebody can say, okay, you're going to monitor this particular item of if they're dissecting a horse, I need you to pay attention to this. And they can communicate through the process. And in the software, there are mock surgeries. If they wanted to work on a car, they can work on the different parts of the engine. But it is designed to collaborate. We want our kids to work on those skills, and it really allows them to give each other feedback that we couldn't do. So it's very powerful.
Well, as you know, St. Lucie Public School staff, we are charged with preparing our students for the world of work and for college. And this certainly does help that. And I know that zSpace works within our standards, as you said. It is specifically aligned to some of our career academies, some more closely than others.
Right.
Do you see some of the academies just aligning very, very tightly with zSpace more so than others? And if so, which ones? And I'm going to ask multiple questions here, so just take it and run with it. And with that, how do you see the work that we're doing aligning to college and career readiness?
Absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind is Manatee Academy, which moves into Westwood. And where that works is at Manatee, if a student is interested in veterinary programs, they want to be a veterinarian, they want to be a vet tech, they can go into Manatee and be a part of the vet tech program. In this program, outside of the countless animals that Miss Friend has, which is from the bearded dragons to the snakes and rats and countless other animals, it's quite expensive to have cadavers for all of the different animals. But more importantly, at that age, that sometimes can be a little more shock value for the kids once they actually start to do it. So we want them to understand and experience dissection in a safe, in a way that they can explore different animals that we just we can't afford to do. But that one child may realize, you know what? I love horses, and because I've got to see the muscle makeup of a horse, and I got to work together with 2 peers, and they shared something with me that I never thought about, it allows it to grow in there. It's a safe environment. They don't get the joys of formaldehyde that we used to smell in the days of dissecting a frog or anything, but they get hooked and they see the value in it, and the teacher can directly connect it. But then when it really comes to life is they say, I've really enjoyed this program. What's my next step? Great. You go to Westwood. We have a surgical veterinary system center. You can now operate and do that working with the vet tech teacher, working with our partners, and through that they can earn an industry certification, become a certified vet tech. That takes them and makes them career ready, that should they decide they're happy with vet tech, we have already provided them the resources as a district. They can go out and and earn a wage and be successful in life. If they want to go on to veterinary school, they've also had that background knowledge that we've given them. So we're really excited. That's a really great model that we're really excited about. Another school that's doing it really well is Oak Hammock. In Oak Hammock, we took a completely different approach. It's in line with what is now running across the nation called makerspaces. And what's great about makerspaces is what we hear the feedback from a lot of the community is that kids don't tinker anymore. They don't just break things. And if they do, they just go buy a new one. So what we've done is we've created an environment. We've taken a science classroom with a combination of zSpace and real items that people bring in from home. And if a kid has a broken vacuum cleaner, now they can take apart that vacuum cleaner, see what's really going on, and they see those gears function, they can go into zSpace and they can rebuild that engine. And they could do it collaboratively. Each person could take a particular element of that and they can rebuild it. So that's something we're really excited
Am I correct?
about.
They can see that working in real time in zSpace as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of the great features is everything in zSpace can function in reality. So the gears continue to work. They could remove a gear and it would still work, but they can visualize now and see, well, this is why this is such a key clog to making this vacuum cleaner go. And they can start to really see how it connects. And then that, in turn, if they're interested in the manufacturing side, the engineering side, they could go to Treasure Coast. We have a manufacturing association and the program there, and they can use our 3D printers and physically start to build these things. So we're really taking the approach with zSpace of getting a hold of our middle grades, giving them some relevance, because we know the data tells us that's the most important age. We've got to get them engaged now. And that's what we're trying to do. We have such dynamic high school programs. This is really exciting for us. And lastly, in a pure high school environment, we have such strong allied health programs. So these units are in our allied health programs. So when students go to do their EKG test, they can now physically go into the program, watch where you put that where you put that pad of the EKG, and how that impacts the heart. Now, that's something we couldn't do, but now we can allow kids to visually see how that happens, and the teacher can provide immediate feedback. It's a really powerful tool.
Well, what I'm hearing just through your description is that through zSpace, our students can experience things that would be financially.
Absolutely.
Feasibly, we would not be able to provide those experiences due to financial reasons or simply due to the fact that perhaps chemicals in an experiment would be something that would be prohibited due to safety reasons, which in a virtual world we can allow that. And then you talked about some of the manufacturing and automation. They can work on things that would be perhaps in a satellite or a very, very highly technical automotive engine that we wouldn't be able to allow our students to work on simply because we don't have those type of machinery in our schools.
Right.
So what a great experience that our students have.
Absolutely.
Opened up so many new avenues and opportunities for them.
It's very powerful. We're excited about it.
And do we see this as something that is a growing opportunity within our schools?
Absolutely. So we have a small number of schools that are it's in 6 schools right now, but we have every intention to continue to expand. But we've taken a very unique, and because we are a middle-sized school district, one of the great things about it is we can really be custom for our children, and we can really meet the needs of our community and what the feedback they give. So they have a very large role in what we do and how this devices continue to grow. So whether it's the makerspace side, and we recognize we have a growing engineering population, we have a path for them. If it's the vet tech side, we have a path for them. So we intend to expand with the support of the community. We want to create the pathways that lead our students into college and careers. And we're going to keep pushing forward.
And I know that you are out there meeting with businesses, meeting with groups, and you are always welcoming people to come into our schools and inviting people. Come see me. I will take you into our classrooms and invite you in to see. We love business partners to get involved. So would you like to share your contact information for people that would like to come and learn more? Absolutely.
Please feel free to contact me at the school board. My number is 772-429-3963. That's my direct extension. Please call me. If I'm not there, chances are I'm out in the streets meeting with people, but please leave me a message. I'll take anybody on tours. I'll let them go see anything that they want to see. We're very proud of the product that we produce here in St. Lucie, and we're very proud of our students and the quality of work we're doing. We feel we've been a hidden gem on the Treasure Coast, and we really want people to see it, and we have no problem with showing anybody.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, there you have it. zSpace, one of the new educational tools revolutionizing what we are doing to support the education of our students in St. Lucie Public Schools. Please stay tuned, because next, in our next segment, we're going to welcome Dr. Kevin Perry, who's going to talk to us about a movement in St. Lucie. Dads, take your child to school day.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore. and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Part 2 of Eye on St. Lucie focuses attention on fathers and male role models in our students' lives. On September the 28th, St. Lucie Public Schools will support a movement along with all other schools across the state. Dads and male caregivers are encouraged to participate in Dads Take Your Child to School Day. Welcome back, and it's my pleasure to have with me Dr. Kevin Perry, who is the assistant to the superintendent, and for the sake of this show, he is more importantly the spearhead for a local event that is actually a statewide event, Dads Take Your Child to School Day. This is the third year of Dads Take Your Child to School Day, which actually has a little bit of history. 3 years ago, we might have referred to this as the Million Father March. Since then, it's been renamed, and we have a goal of actually capturing 3,000 dads this year to sign a pledge of what it means to be involved in their child's life. Dr. Perry, thank you so much, because it's been a pleasure working with you to coordinate this event this year. And I keep saying event, but I need to rephrase that, because you have helped us to understand that Dads Take Your Child to School Day is a movement. It is not a moment.
Exactly.
Because it's something we need to do always.
Always.
Elaborate on that a little bit, please.
Well, as you mentioned, it's an outgrowth of the Million Father March, which is based out of the Chicago initiative. Started back in 2004, and it chronicles the research that points out the importance of the male caregiver, the father's involvement consistently and constantly in a child's socio-emotional as well as their academic life. And when we think about it, if we can provide activities that consistently link fathers, role models, male caregivers to the educational process, we can positively impact and increase the child's chances of success in school, but also, more importantly, in life.
Okay, so this is going to take place on September the 28th, and that is a Wednesday. September 28th, we are going to invite all fathers, uncles, caregivers, anyone who has a role in a student's life to take a few minutes and take their child to school. At this moment, schools are gearing up, providing different types of activities so that when dads, male caregivers bring their child to school, they can engage in different type of activities. Maybe it's simply signing the pledge when they drop their child off. Perhaps it is coming and having a donut or something. But different ways in which to be involved in the life of their child, and just a lot of excitement going on right now. And each year it seems to have grown as far as awareness and opportunities that our schools are affording dads and the children.
That is correct. When we first started with the Million Father March, it was not a local or a statewide initiative. Last year, for the 2015-16 school year, Chancellor Lyons had his department that involves communities and families work and do some research, which follows along with the Million Father March. And that's why we created statewide Dads Take Your Child to School Day. And it is always celebrated in the state of Florida the last Wednesday of the month of September. You'll find some other initiatives where fathers actually take their kids to school on the very first day. But in the state of Florida, it is the last Wednesday of the month of September. But as you mentioned earlier, we do a little more in St. Lucie County. And I remember last year when I was speaking with the representative from the state of Florida when they were rolling it out, she was amazed at the things that were going on here in St. Lucie Public Schools. Because, as we stated, for us, It's a movement, not a moment. What we want is for fathers to come in, not just that one day and sign the compact, but for them to actively engage in the learning process with their children all year long. So to do that, we have schools that focus activities at least once a quarter. So that's one time each 9 weeks that we actively try to pull fathers into our schools for the learning process. And there are many ways that fathers can do that, many ways that our schools kick off the Dads Take Your Child to School Day. This year with the Olympics, of course, there are going to be some Olympic themes where you will have games that fathers may come in and play with their child in the afternoon on the day of the 28th, because the time span is all day. We don't say that it's got to happen when school is going on. There's some schools that will do their initial kickoff in the afternoons when parents are off from work, and it may take that Olympic theme. In addition to that, we have a lot of schools that have latched on to the superheroes, and we want to think that our fathers, our male caregivers, are superheroes in the lives of our children anyway, so that's very appropriate as we link them in to the Dads Take Your Child to School. But on that day, they may participate in games. They may just come and sign compact. As you mentioned, they may walk their child to school, and there may be some kind of presentation in the child's individual class, or they may have a designated time on the campus where all children come, maybe outside to their fields or in the cafetorium, and there's some kind of activity that cements the activity for families, for fathers, for school-wide on their campuses. And then, of course, those activities that schools roll out the entire year. It could be daddy-daughter dances. It could be a PTO meeting. It could be a special performance. It could be Real Men Read, where we invite men to come in and read to our students. We all know that research proves that those who read succeed. So it's very important that we get that reading component and good reading examples, models involved in our students' educational process each and every day, and having men come to do that. Just what it's like to see the superintendent come and read to your kids, or the sheriff. You know, the power that has on a child's life, especially when we also know that students learn to read to grade 3 and then they read to learn. So we're just helping to spear along that educational process.
And again, that movement, not a moment, reading is something that we need to continue to do all the time, not just a single day in the life of a child.
Well, just think about the amount of reading that you have to do each and every day for the jobs that you do. So that's why we understand that we learn to read through grade 3, but then we read to learn. We have to read each and every day to perform the tasks that are associated with the jobs that we perform.
Absolutely. And you mentioned some of the activities that are taking place. I know last year, as the schools were engaged with Dads Take Your Child to School Day, the social media, schools were posting the activities that were taking place, and I believe at the end of this segment we'll be able to show some of the things that took place. And again, this year we invite our audience to please stay tuned, because our not only our district office will be sharing some of those wonderful photographs that will be shared with us, but individual schools will be posting, and such a great way to pay tribute to what is taking place for a lasting memento and a reminder of how important it is to be involved in the life of a child.
Just, it really is amazing. It's an exciting day. And I know we do a lot posting about the first day, but it's important for us to make sure that we continue to post and share the information of the days that follow, that we actively engage them. But just think of a father coming to an elementary school in the afternoon for a Dads Take Your Child to School kickoff, and he's sitting there hula hooping with his daughter. It is so cool when you witness that, and just the power that that child will have for the rest of her life as she remembers Dad coming to school and having a great time with me, or picking me up so that I can make the basket, or so that I can. And I've actually seen those kinds of activities happen during our Dads Take Your Child to School Day. Such memorable events when fathers come in and share the educational process or the social emotional developmental process with our students. Just making them better students, but also better citizens for our community.
Taking time to connect.
Yes.
Taking time to connect is just as important as taking time to read, and that reading time is connecting time. Yes, being involved. Sharing goals, establishing career goals, just as we were talking about college and career readiness in our first segment.
When we think about it, and you mentioned earlier, we both did, that it's grounded, this activity, this day is grounded in over 30 years of research. 30 years of research that talks about the positive relationships that develop, or the importance of the father, the male caregiver, fathers, uncles, grandfathers, brothers, their involvement in the educational process of children. It shows that they perform better academically. They graduate at higher rates from high school. They have fewer discipline problems. And it also allows for fathers to do basically three things: have an interactive opportunity with their children. By that, we mean they're participating in some kind of activity, some activity. Then in addition to that, it's relational, where fathers come and share with other fathers, learn from other fathers, just to see, it's great to have models about how we are supposed to behave. And then other than that, it's also relevant because it connects fathers to the learning process. So not only are mothers there with homework, but fathers are there with homework. Not only are mothers there for student-led conference, but fathers are there when students are demonstrating the work that they're learning and things that they're participating in that are part of the educational process each and every day. It's great when we link those entire families. So that, again, you've heard me say it, students become better students, but they also have better opportunities for a better life. Why? Because we make sure that it's a movement, not a moment.
And this is a movement that our community is behind, because you've touched base with many, many community leaders.
Yes.
At our last school board meeting, we had a proclamation read that was adopted and approved by our board. In fact, you had one of our community leaders from the St. Lucie Public Fire District to read that proclamation.
Right. Mr. Jerger was actually, he's a dad,
Yes.
read the proclamation. I've heard from the Fort Pierce police chief. She's on board. Our tax collector, Chris Kraft, and his department are on board. Joe Smith and his department, clerk of the court. We've heard from Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie police, as well as the sheriff's department. Everybody's jumping on board because they too understand the importance of us all being involved in the educational process.
Yep. And it is so important that we all are involved in the life of our children, because our children are our future.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just do a little loop back to our college and career readiness and career and technical, because their hashtag is future ready. So hashtag future ready, and we want to keep our children future ready for everything that we do. And so with that, I would like to thank you for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
And thank you to our viewing audience, and a special thank you to the staff here at WLX TV. I would invite all of you to stay in tune and stay connected with St. Lucie Public Schools by following us on all of our social media channels. We love working with your children every day and appreciate having the opportunity to serve you and your children. Thank you.